Have you ever wondered why you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own life? Like you're there, but not really alive, surrounded by noise, faces, and routines, yet missing the person you used to be? That quiet ache inside you is not weakness. It's your true self calling out from beneath layers of distractions, expectations, and places that slowly poison your spirit. Because the truth is, not all places are safe for the soul. Some look harmless, even comforting, but they quietly destroy the core of who you are. You see, the most dangerous places are not found on a map. They exist in your habits, your environment, and your patterns of thought. They exist in the moments when you stop questioning, when you trade authenticity for acceptance, when you bury your pain instead of healing it. Every time you settle for less than what your soul knows it deserves, you take one step deeper into those invisible prisons. And the scariest part, you don't even realize it's happening until one day you look in the mirror and see someone you barely recognize. But right now, right here, you have a choice. You can wake up. You can pull yourself out of the places that drain your energy, your peace, and your passion, because if you don't, they will quietly consume everything you are meant to be. And that's what this message is about, revealing the 7 dangerous places that destroy your true self, so you can stop wandering through the illusions that steal your power and start rebuilding the person you were born to become. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It's about giving you back the control you've lost without realizing it. You're not broken, you've just been shaped by environments that were never designed to help you grow. You've adapted to survive in rooms that suffocate your light. You've accepted voices that told you to shrink, but deep inside there's still a part of you that remembers what freedom feels like, that fierce, unfiltered energy that once made you unstoppable. That part of you is still alive. It's waiting for you to come back. Most people never do. They spend their lives moving through toxic places, mentally, emotionally, and physically, thinking that's just the way life is. They numb themselves with distractions. They chase validation, not purpose. They wear masks so often that they forget the shape of their own face. But you're here because something in you refuses to die quietly. You can feel it. That hunger for something real, something pure, something powerful. That's your true self fighting for its life. And if you listen closely, it's whispering one thing: get out before it's too late. Because the longer you stay where your spirit doesn't belong, the harder it becomes to leave. The more you ignore the signs, the exhaustion, the emptiness, the quiet disconnection, the deeper those roots of self-destruction grow. But if you choose awareness, everything changes. The moment you recognize the environments that drain you, you begin to reclaim your identity, your strength, your direction. Stay with me till the end. Because once you see these 7 places clearly, you'll never fall for them again. You'll learn to protect your energy, to recognize what's destroying your essence, and to rebuild a life that finally feels like yours. This is the moment you stop existing and start living. The first dangerous place that destroys your true self is the one that feels the safest, the comfort zone. It's the invisible cage that looks like peace, but slowly becomes your prison. It's the routine you repeat because it's predictable, the job you tolerate because it's familiar, the silence you keep because speaking up feels risky. It disguises itself as stability, but what it really gives you is slow decay. Every day you stay where growth doesn't exist, you trade a piece of your potential for a moment of false security. Your comfort zone whispers, "You're fine here. Don't change. Don't risk it." And because it speaks softly, you listen. You convince yourself that being safe means being happy. You stop trying new things because failure feels like danger. You avoid uncomfortable conversations because rejection feels unbearable. But underneath it all, something is dying. Your hunger for life, your sense of purpose, your inner fire. The comfort zone kills quietly, not by pain, but by peace that isn't real. The truth is, nothing beautiful ever grows where you refuse to be challenged. Every breakthrough you've ever had came from discomfort, from moments that scared you, pushed you, broke you open. Growth demands risk. It demands uncertainty. It demands that you step into the unknown without a guarantee, because only then does your spirit awaken. Only then do you meet the version of yourself that you are meant to become. Fear will always try to convince you that you're not ready. It will remind you of every failure, every time you fell short, every voice that told you you're not enough. But fear is not your enemy. It's your invitation. It's proof that you're standing on the edge of transformation. The people who never move beyond that edge are the ones who spend their lives wondering what could have been. They watch others rise and tell themselves they just got lucky, not realizing that courage is never luck. It's a decision. Ask yourself honestly, what have you avoided because it feels uncomfortable? What dream have you delayed because you're afraid of looking foolish? How many times have you chosen comfort over purpose, knowing deep down you were meant for more? Those moments are the cracks where your true self slips away. And the longer you ignore them, the more you become a shadow of the person you were born to be. But the good news is, you can reclaim yourself the moment you decide to move. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take one step, one act of courage, one uncomfortable choice, one decision to no longer settle. That single act breaks the illusion of safety and begins rebuilding your strength. When you walk away from comfort, you rediscover your own power. You begin to trust yourself again. You start to see that the world doesn't reward those who stay safe. It rewards those who dare. Every time you face fear and move anyway, your confidence expands, your energy multiplies, and your life opens in ways you never imagined. Comfort feels good, but it costs you your greatness. It asks for your dreams as payment. Don't give it that. Don't spend your life watching others live the story you were meant to write. You are not here to survive, you are here to evolve. And evolution only happens when you leave what's easy behind. The second dangerous place that destroys your true self is the environment built on comparison. It's where your worth is measured against others, where your confidence rises and falls based on what someone else achieves. It's the silent battlefield of the mind, where self-doubt grows stronger every time you scroll, every time you compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel. And it doesn't just steal your happiness, it robs you of your identity. Because the more you measure your life through the lens of others, the further you drift from who you really are. Comparison is a trap that disguises itself as motivation. It tells you to work harder, look better, earn more, be more. But what it never tells you is when to stop. No matter how much you achieve, there's always someone doing more, someone further ahead, someone whose life seems brighter. So you chase endlessly, not out of passion, but out of insecurity. And that chase drains your energy, your peace, and your purpose. You begin to live for applause instead of fulfillment. You start shaping your life to impress people who were never paying attention. But here's the truth most people never face. Comparison is an illusion. The version of people you compare yourself to is never real. It's filtered, edited, and controlled. You see the surface, the success, the smiles, the confidence. But you don't see the pain, the sacrifices, the doubts hiding underneath. You're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's best moments, and you'll always lose that game. Because comparison blinds you to the beauty of your own path. It makes you forget how far you've come, how many battles you've survived, how many storms you've already walked through. You were never meant to be like anyone else. You were meant to be different, raw, imperfect, human. Your journey has its own rhythm, its own timing, its own purpose. The moment you stop comparing, you free yourself from the noise. You stop running in circles and start walking with direction. You begin to see your life not as a race, but as a masterpiece in progress. And that shift changes everything. When you let go of comparison, your energy returns, your focus sharpens. You start creating instead of competing. You start growing for yourself, not to prove something to others. And that's when your true self begins to rise again. Not driven by fear of falling behind, but by love for becoming who you're meant to be. Don't let the pressure of other people's timelines make you doubt your own. You're not late, you're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be to learn what you must. The greatest mistake is believing your value depends on anyone else's validation. Real power is found when you stop seeking approval and start owning your uniqueness. So stop measuring your worth by comparison. You are not here to compete. You are here to evolve, to create, to contribute something the world has never seen before, something only you can give. Every time you choose authenticity over comparison, you return to yourself. Every time you focus on growth instead of rivalry, you rise higher. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your truth. And the moment you realize that, the battle with comparison ends and your freedom begins. The third dangerous place that destroys your true self is the crowd that doesn't see your worth. It's the group that celebrates your weakness but mocks your growth. It's the people who call you arrogant when you start setting boundaries, who label you selfish when you begin to choose yourself. This place feels familiar because it's filled with faces you know. Friends, colleagues, maybe even family. But the truth is, not everyone who stands beside you deserves a front row seat to your life. Some people are only comfortable with you when you're small, quiet, and easy to control. The moment you evolve, they feel threatened. The moment you rise, they try to pull you back down. Staying in the wrong environment doesn't just drain your energy, it rewires your identity. You begin to mirror the people around you. You absorb their fears, their habits, their beliefs. You start lowering your standards just to fit in. And slowly, you forget who you were before their voices shaped your thoughts. That's how your true self fades. Not all at once, but piece by piece, every time you silence your truth to keep their approval. Human nature craves belonging. But belonging shouldn't require betrayal of your authenticity. True connection never demands that you dim your light to make others comfortable. If you have to hide your ambition to be accepted, you're not in a community, you're in captivity. The people meant for you will never fear your growth. They will challenge you, yes, but they will also remind you of your power. They will not compete with your light, they will rise with it. Letting go of toxic environments is hard because they're often tied to memories, to years of loyalty, to the illusion of comfort. But staying in places where your spirit is not valued costs more than leaving ever will. Every moment spent in the wrong company is a moment stolen from your evolution. And sometimes, the universe delays your growth not because you're unworthy, but because you're surrounded by those who can't see your worth. You don't need permission to outgrow people. You don't need to apologize for choosing peace over drama, clarity over confusion, solitude over fake connection. Walking alone for a while is far better than walking with people who make you forget your worth. Growth often looks like isolation because, in silence, you begin to hear your real voice again. You begin to remember what you want, what you stand for, what you believe in. And once you rediscover that, no crowd can control you again. Your energy is sacred. Protect it. The people around you shape your reality. If you surround yourself with those who doubt, you'll start doubting. But if you choose those who believe, who push you, who remind you that you're capable of more, your entire life shifts. The quality of your circle determines the strength of your spirit. Never stay where your presence is tolerated instead of valued. Never shrink to fit into spaces that don't align with your truth. The world will always try to define you, but only you decide who you become. Step away from those who cannot see your worth, because every time you choose yourself, you teach the world how to treat you, and when you finally walk out of the wrong crowd, you don't lose anything real. You only lose the chains that kept you from becoming everything you were meant to be. The fourth dangerous place that destroys your true self is the past that you refuse to release. It's the invisible weight that keeps you chained to old mistakes, lost opportunities, and broken moments you can't undo. You carry it like armor, convincing yourself it protects you from being hurt again, when in truth, it's the very thing that keeps you from healing. The past has a way of whispering lies, telling you that you can't change, that you don't deserve peace, that the pain you felt defines who you are. But those are echoes of an old version of you, a version that no longer exists unless you keep bringing it back to life. You cannot build a future while your heart still belongs to yesterday. Every time you replay what went wrong, every time you hold on to guilt, regret, or resentment, you drain the energy meant for your growth. You trap yourself in moments that no longer need you. The truth is, what happened cannot be changed, but what happens next is still entirely in your hands. The past only owns you if you let it. You are not what you've lost. You are not the pain you endured. You are the strength that survived it. Forgiveness is the key that frees you, not because the past deserves it, but because your soul does. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means finally accepting that you cannot move forward while you keep bleeding from the same wound. It's giving yourself permission to stop rehearsing pain and start creating peace. You cannot be your true self while you're still carrying old versions of yourself that you've already outgrown. The past is a teacher, not a home. Learn what it taught you, then walk away. Sometimes we stay trapped in the past because it's familiar. We know the pain, we know the story, we know how it feels. But healing requires the courage to step into the unknown. It requires trusting that your life still has beauty ahead of it, even if you can't see it yet. The scars you carry aren't signs of weakness. They're proof that you were strong enough to survive. But survival is not the same as living. To live fully, you must let go. There is a peace waiting for you beyond the memories that haunt you. There is freedom beyond the guilt that keeps you small. The moment you decide to stop reliving what broke you, you begin to create what will build you. You can't rewrite the past, but you can redefine its meaning. You can transform pain into purpose, regret into wisdom, loss into gratitude. That is the power of awakening, realizing that every ending was only redirecting you towards something greater. So stop revisiting what no longer exists. Stop watering the dead garden of your past, hoping it will bloom again. Life moves forward, and you must move with it. You deserve more than memories that hurt. You deserve moments that heal. Let the past fall away like old skin, because you are not meant to repeat what hurt you. You are meant to rise beyond it. The moment you release what was, you reclaim what can be. And in that release, your true self breathes again, free, alive, and ready to create a future that finally feels like home. The fifth dangerous place that destroys your true self is the noise inside your own mind. It's the constant stream of thoughts that never let you rest. The overthinking, the self-criticism, the endless replay of what if and why me. It's the place where fear disguises itself as logic, where doubt wears the mask of reason, where you fight invisible battles no one else can see. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your worst enemy, depending on which voice you choose to listen to. When you let negative thoughts control you, they don't just steal your peace, they rewrite your identity. The mind loves to predict pain before it happens. It convinces you that playing small is safer, that not trying means you can't fail. But the truth is, the only thing worse than failure is the regret of never knowing what you were capable of. Your mind can build walls that keep you trapped, walls made of fear, shame, and old beliefs. It whispers that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not ready. But those are not facts. They are fears, rehearsed so many times that they begin to sound like truth. Every thought you accept becomes a seed, and whatever you feed grows. Feed your fears, and they multiply. Feed your doubts, and they shape your reality. But if you begin to feed your strength, your hope, your courage, the entire landscape of your mind changes. It's not about silencing the negative voice. It's about speaking louder than it. It's about reminding yourself that your thoughts are not your master. You are. Peace doesn't come from escaping your mind. It comes from mastering it. It comes from choosing awareness over reaction, presence over panic. The most powerful people are not those who have quiet minds, but those who have learned to command them. You can't stop the storm of thoughts, but you can choose not to drown in it. You can learn to observe the noise without letting it define you. Your true self lives beneath that noise, in the stillness that appears when you stop arguing with your thoughts. That silence is where clarity begins. That's where your intuition speaks, where truth feels calm and steady, not loud and desperate. Every moment you spend listening to that quiet wisdom, you return closer to who you really are. Most people never find that stillness because they become addicted to mental chaos. They mistake constant thinking for control, but it's actually fear disguised as productivity. They keep busy to avoid feeling. They keep overanalyzing to avoid acting. But freedom isn't found in thinking more. It's found in thinking less, in creating space for the truth to emerge without distortion. You must learn to talk to yourself the way you would to someone you love. Replace self-criticism with compassion. Replace overthinking with action. Replace doubt with discipline. Because every time you speak kindness to yourself, You heal a part of you that's been at war for years. Your mind is a powerful servant but a terrible master. Train it, guide it, remind it who's in charge. The moment you take control of your inner world, the outer one stops controlling you. When your thoughts align with peace, your energy aligns with purpose. And in that harmony, your true self is no longer buried beneath the noise. It becomes the voice that leads you. The sixth dangerous place that destroys your true self is the life built on approval. It's the endless chase for validation, the exhausting need to be liked, accepted, and understood by everyone. It's when your decisions are no longer yours, when every move you make is filtered through the question, what will they think? You begin to trade your truth for applause, your peace for permission, your identity for acceptance. And at first, it feels harmless, until you realize that the person you've been trying to please doesn't even exist. Everyone sees you through their own lens, shaped by their own fears, biases, and expectations. You cannot win a game where the rules change with every opinion. Living for approval is emotional slavery. You give away your power piece by piece, hoping someone will tell you who you are. But no matter how much you do, it's never enough. The moment you try to fit in, you start to disappear. You smile when you want to cry, agree when you want to speak, stay when you want to leave. You silence your truth to keep peace with others, forgetting that the real war is happening inside you. Every time you betray yourself for acceptance, you tell your soul it doesn't matter, and one day it starts to believe you. You weren't created to please everyone. You were created to live authentically. Your value isn't determined by applause, but by alignment. The only approval that truly matters is the one that comes from within, the quiet, knowing that you are living in integrity with your heart. The people meant for you will never need you to shrink. They will recognize your light and respect it, even when it burns differently than theirs. Approval addiction is rooted in fear of rejection, of abandonment, of being misunderstood. But the truth is, rejection doesn't destroy you, pretending does. You don't need everyone to like you to live a meaningful life. You just need the courage to be real. Because authenticity has a power that imitation never will. When you stand in your truth, you might lose some people, but you'll gain yourself. And that's a trade worth everything. The moment you stop seeking validation, you find freedom. You no longer bend under the weight of other people's expectations. You no longer seek permission to be who you already are. You begin to act from love, not fear, from confidence, not insecurity. You start to make decisions based on your values, not on the need to prove your worth. That's when your life stops being a performance and becomes a purpose. There will always be those who misunderstand you, judge you, or try to define you. Let them. Their opinions are not your mirror. You don't have to convince anyone of your truth. You only have to live it. When you choose authenticity over approval, your energy shifts. You attract people who see you, not your mask. You create space for real love, real peace, real connection. You were never meant to blend in, you were meant to stand out. The world doesn't need another version of what already exists. It needs your truth, your vision, your voice. Stop living as a reflection of what others expect. Start living as a revelation of who you are. The applause will fade, but your alignment will last. And when you no longer need approval to feel enough, that's when you become unstoppable, because you've finally learned to be loyal to your own soul. The seventh dangerous place that destroys your true self is the life lived without silence. It's the constant noise of the world, the endless scrolling, the constant notifications, the opinions, the distractions, the pressure to always be doing something. It's the addiction to motion that leaves no space for meaning. You wake up to noise, you work in noise, you fall asleep to noise, and somewhere between it all, you lose the sound of your own soul. Because silence isn't empty, it's full of truth, it's where your real voice lives. But most people are too afraid to listen to it. The mind that never stops moving can't hear the whispers of intuition. The heart that's always surrounded by noise forgets what peace feels like. When you fill every quiet moment with stimulation, you leave no room for reflection. You start confusing activity with progress, noise with purpose, and chaos with life. But the truth is, nothing grows in noise. Growth happens in stillness, in the moments when you stop running and finally face what's inside. Silence is where you meet yourself. It's where the masks fall away and the truth rises. It's where you realize what you've been avoiding, what you truly desire, what no longer belongs in your life. But that kind of silence scares most people because it reveals everything they've been hiding from. It exposes the emptiness beneath the distractions. It shows you the emotions you've buried under busyness. Yet it's only when you sit with that discomfort that you begin to heal. The world glorifies noise because noise keeps you obedient. If you're always busy, you never question. If you're always entertained, you never awaken. The system thrives on your distraction, but your soul starves in it. You cannot find your purpose in chaos. You can only find it in clarity. And clarity only comes when you create space for silence, when you allow yourself to disconnect from everything external and reconnect with what's eternal. Silence is not weakness. It's not laziness. It's alignment. It's where creativity is born, where ideas come alive, where inner peace takes root. The most powerful decisions you'll ever make will not come from panic, but from presence. The answers you've been searching for don't live in the noise of the world. They live in the quiet moments you keep avoiding. Every time you choose silence over distraction, you reclaim your energy, your attention, your direction. The truth is, silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of awareness. It's the place where you begin to feel again, think clearly again, breathe again. It's where you remember that life was never meant to be a race, but a rhythm. When you slow down, you start noticing beauty again. You start feeling gratitude again. You begin to live intentionally instead of automatically. Protect your silence the way you protect your dreams. Make time to disconnect, not because the world deserves less of you, but because you deserve more of yourself. In silence, you'll rediscover your strength. You'll feel the calm power that can't be shaken by external noise. You'll realize that peace was never something to find. It was something you create when you stop letting the world drown out your inner voice. And in that sacred quiet, your true self finally speaks, clear, strong, and free. The final dangerous place that destroys your true self is the one where you stop believing in possibility. It's the mental space where hope fades and doubt becomes your default. It's when you wake up and convince yourself that nothing will ever change, that your best days are behind you, that you've gone too far, failed too much, or waited too long. That place is the quiet death of the spirit. It's not built by tragedy, but by surrender, the slow acceptance of limits that were never real. The moment you stop believing in what could be, you begin to decay inside what is. The human spirit wasn't designed to live without hope. You were built to expand, to evolve, to create, to become more than you were yesterday. Every time you give up on your own potential, you bury a piece of your destiny. You start existing instead of living. You start surviving instead of thriving. And the saddest part is, you begin to call that normal. You start saying, this is just how life is, when deep down you know it isn't. You know that something greater lives inside you, something you've been too afraid to chase, too tired to try for, too discouraged to believe in. But that spark is still there. It never died. It only dimmed under the weight of disappointment. You are not your failures. You are not your circumstances. You are not the opinions that others have of you. You are possibility in motion. You are potential waiting to be claimed. The fact that you're still breathing means life hasn't given up on you. The question is, have you given up on yourself? Because the only real prison is the belief that you can't escape where you are. The moment you decide to believe again, truly believe, everything begins to shift. The energy around you changes because your energy changes. Your thoughts create movement. Your faith creates opportunity. Hope is not weakness. Hope is rebellion. It's the refusal to let darkness dictate the end of your story. It's standing in the middle of chaos and saying, this is not where it ends. It's understanding that every fall was training, every loss was shaping, every delay was protection. The most powerful people you admire were not the lucky ones. They were the ones who refused to stop believing when everything told them to quit. They kept faith alive when logic said it was over. And because they did, their reality transformed. Your true self flourishes when you live with belief. It thrives on vision, on purpose, on the courage to imagine more. Every great change begins in the mind of someone who refused to accept limitation. That power is already inside you. It just needs your permission to rise again, no matter what has broken you, no matter what has been taken. Your next chapter is still unwritten. You can decide right now that your life will not end in the same place it fell apart. Stop shrinking under the illusion of impossibility. The world you see is shaped by the thoughts you feed it. Feed it doubt, and it collapses. Feed it faith, and it expands. You have survived too much to give up now. You have overcome too many storms to surrender at the edge of transformation. This is your reminder. The story isn't over. It's just waiting for you to believe again. Because the moment you do, your true self, the fearless, limitless, powerful self, finally awakens, ready to rebuild everything you were born to become.